People go camping to escape the noise of the world, to breathe fresh air, and to feel the quiet comfort of nature. But out in the wilderness, far from city lights and crowded streets, there are moments when the silence becomes too quiet, when the darkness takes on a life of its own, and tonight's video explores 3 disturbing true camping horror stories that remind us how vulnerable we really are when we're surrounded only by trees. These stories come from real campers who thought they were headed for relaxing weekends but ended up facing the kind of terror that stays with you forever. The first story follows a solo camper who had been looking forward to disconnecting for weeks. He picked a remote part of a national forest, miles from the nearest ranger station, and when he arrived, he realized he might be the only person in the entire area. At first, the emptiness felt peaceful, but by nightfall it felt more like a warning. Around 2 a.m., he woke up to the sound of slow, heavy footsteps circling his tent, footsteps that didn't sound like an animal. They were careful, almost cautious, as if whoever or whatever was outside didn't want to be heard. When he whispered hello, the steps suddenly stopped. Then the fabric near his head pressed inward, like a face leaning against the tent from the outside. Something tugged the zipper an inch before letting go. He lay frozen, listening to breathing just inches away from him, until it slowly faded into the trees. In the morning, he found barefoot human footprints in the dirt, large, wide, and circling the tent multiple times. Rangers later admitted there had been reports of a strange barefoot man wandering the forest, approaching camps at night, but no one had been able to find him. The next story involves 2 close friends backpacking through mountain trails. On their second day, they stumbled upon an abandoned campsite, gear still scattered, a pot left hanging over cold ashes, and a notebook lying half open near a torn sleeping bag. Curiosity got the better of them. The notebook contained short entries from a hiker who wrote about hearing someone walking around his camp every night, but the final page was only 4 shaky words: "It comes at night." Uneasy, the friends set up camp farther up the trail. When darkness settled in, the forest became unnaturally silent. Hours later, a distant scream echoed across the mountains, so faint they almost convinced themselves it was wind, until it happened again, louder, closer, and definitely human. Minutes later, something sprinted across the ridge behind them, moving far too fast to be a person. One friend swore he saw a tall figure crouch behind a tree and watch their camp until dawn. When they reported what they experienced, rangers told them the abandoned site belonged to a hiker who had been missing for 10 days. His camp was found, but not him. The final story centers on a family of 4 camping at a popular site near a lake. Their first day was perfect, swimming, cooking, laughing, but everything changed once the sun went down. As they sat by the fire, the father noticed 2 glowing eyes deep in the trees, unmoving, watching. At first he assumed it was a deer, but the eyes were too high, over 7 feet off the ground. When he shined his flashlight toward them, the eyes disappeared, replaced a moment later by a low, rumbling growl that vibrated through the ground. They retreated to their tent, trying to brush it off, until something massive walked into their campsite, snapping thick branches as if they were twigs. Their tent shook as heavy breathing circled them, and then something large brushed hard against the side, making the children scream. The father grabbed everyone and rushed them into the car, locking the doors. From inside, they could hear whatever it was pacing around, occasionally thumping against the vehicle as if testing it. The family didn't sleep at all. When daylight came, the creature was gone, but the ground outside was torn up, claw marks raked deep into the dirt. Rangers examined the tracks but couldn't match them to any known animal in the region. They quietly advised the family to leave and suggested they not camp there again. These stories remind us that while the wilderness can be peaceful, it can also hide things beyond our understanding. Whether it's a person living far outside society, an unknown predator, or something we can't explain at all, the darkness of the forest has a way of revealing how truly alone we are. If you've ever experienced anything strange while camping, footsteps, whispers, glowing eyes, share your story, and remember, when you're lying inside a thin tent at night, you never really know what might be standing just outside the fabric, listening to you breathe.